Tyler Grayson hadn't said a word since the cafeteria doors locked behind him. It was supposed to be just another corporate lunch, grilled chicken, dry speeches, maybe a half-hearted joke from upper management. No one noticed him at first, standing in line like the rest of them, unshaven, eyes shadowed, the kind of face that made you look twice and then quickly away. The staff thought he was new, maybe regional. No one recognized him, but in places like this, that wasn't uncommon. People come and go. What mattered was keeping your head down, clocking out on time, and not asking the kinds of questions that got people quietly escorted out of the building. But then he dropped his tray. Not by accident, he dropped it like it had suddenly grown teeth. It hit the floor with a metallic scream that cut through conversation, laughter, even the buzz of the vending machine. Everyone turned. Tyler didn't move. He just looked at something over the heads of the crowd, his face hollow, like he'd remembered something he wasn't supposed to. And then he asked it. One question, loud, clear, sharp as a blade, tearing through fabric. Where is Miranda King? The room fell dead silent. Someone in the back coughed. A fork scraped porcelain. No one answered. Because no one was supposed to say that name. Not in this building. Not ever again. Miranda King had been gone for 8 years. She was HR sweet, blunt, always wore navy blue. She vanished one Tuesday morning on her way to the parking lot. Surveillance footage showed her walking toward the exit stand. Then nothing. No car pulled up. No one followed. She simply evaporated between frames. Like the camera blinked and the world lost her. There'd been meetings, a search, a memorial, a silent understanding not to dig deeper. Until now, Tyler took 2 steps forward. The supervisor, Carl Brennan, known for yelling over microwaves and flirting with interns, stood up from his corner table and said something low, threatening, to Rehearsed. Tyler didn't flinch. His eyes were fixed on the hallway beyond the coffee station, the one that supposedly led to a locked utility closet. She's still here, he said. She never left. You all know that. That's when Marissa Young Bright, new mother, dropped her spoon. Her face went pale. My baby, she whispered, almost inaudible. My baby said her name last night. In his sleep. He's never heard it before. Someone laughed. Nervous, too loud. Another got up to leave, but the doors wouldn't budge. The lights above flickered. Once, twice, then settled. People started murmuring. Confused, on edge. Phones wouldn't connect. And Tyler, he'd walked to the center of the room like a man walking into court. You've all lied for so long. You've started to believe the lie, he said, but the building remembers. And now, it's starting to show you. Behind him, the flat screen on the far wall flickered from the slideshow of employee spotlights to a static image, grainy grayscale. Dated, a break room photo, 12 people sitting around a table, smiling, except at the end of the table, barely visible, was Miranda. Looking directly into the camera. Eyes bloodshot, expression wrong. There were only ever 11 people in that original photo. Carl lunged forward to unplug the screen, yelling something about pranks and company policy, but before he could reach it, the lights cut out entirely. In the pitch dark. A voice came through the intercom, raspy, trembling. Female. Why did you bury me under conference room? See? And then the screaming started. The screaming didn't last long. Seconds, maybe. One voice, Carl's raw, an animal, tearing through the black silence like it wanted out of its own skin. Then the lights flickered back on, and he was just gone. Not collapsed, not hiding. Gone. The monitor that had shown Miranda's face was blank again, scrolling back to that mindless carousel of employee birthdays and stale stock quotes, like nothing had happened. People stumbled backward. Some cried, some whispered prayers, like a reflex they didn't believe in. One woman in accounting sat rocking in her chair, eyes fixed on the floor, repeating we were told not to talk about her under her breath. Tyler stood exactly where he had before, his mouth shut, breathing steady, too steady, like someone who'd rehearsed this moment 1,000 times. Like someone who already knew what came next. The doors were unlocked now. Wide open, no alarm. No one tried to leave. It wasn't fear. Not fully. It was something worse, recognition, and that was when Olivia Quinn arrived. No one saw her walk in. She was just there suddenly, standing by the vending machines, holding a cup of coffee she hadn't poured. She looked like someone who belonged there, in that bland company-issued cardigan. Badge clipped to her belt. Polite posture. But Tyler's face changed the moment he saw her, not with surprise, but something harder. Shame. Olivia smiled, too quickly. Well, she said, that was dramatic. The room exhaled as if she'd popped the tension like a balloon. Someone laughed too loud again, like they wanted the noise to drag them back to reality. A few of the braver ones started whispering to each other, rationalizing out loud. Power surge. Prank. Tyler was having a breakdown. Carl just left. They wanted to believe Olivia. She had that calm, sharp way of talking that people instinctively obey. But her badge had no name. Where did Carl go? Tyler asked. Olivia sipped her coffee. Is that really the most important question right now? Something in her voice scratched at the back of his brain, like hearing your mother hum a tune. She never taught you. He squinted at her, like looking too closely might expose something he couldn't unsee. I remember you, he said, slowly. No, she replied. You want to remember me? That's different. The fluorescent lights above them hummed louder now, not in volume but in presence, an unbearable buzz that crawled beneath your skin, a migraine forming behind the eyeballs. Tyler turned to the others, but most had gone back to eating, as if nothing had happened. Only Marissa looked shaken, still clutching her phone, whispering to someone who wasn't on the other end of the call. He reached her. Did you hear the voice too? He asked. She nodded, eyes wide. But the voice wasn't asking you. It was asking me. He stepped back. That wasn't possible. He'd heard his name, hadn't he? Or maybe it had said Tyler. Or, why did you bury me? Why did that sound suddenly not so clear? He pulled his phone out of his pocket, opened the voice recorder, rewound the last 10 minutes. Nothing. Just cafeteria noise, clinking silverware, half a joke about vegan options. No scream, no static, no voice. He hit record again and whispered into the mic. Miranda King. Played it back. Static. Like the phone didn't want to say it back. He looked up and Olivia was beside him again. To close now, her breath sweet, with coffee and something sharp underneath, metallic, like old pennies. Tyler, she said softly, you're trying to remember something that never happened. That's dangerous. For everyone. He stepped away, stumbling, his knee knocking against a table. I knew her, he said. She gave me a ride home once. Her son was in Little League. He broke his arm that year. Olivia tilted her head. Miranda never had children. He blinked. What, she wasn't married? Lived alone? No family? Not even a cat? You're remembering someone else, but that wasn't right. He saw the photo. The little plastic trophy in her cubicle. The card they all signed when she went missing, except had he. He turned to the break room wall where employee photos hung. A dozen smiling faces. Carl, Marissa, himself. A few he didn't know well. Miranda wasn't there. He crossed the room, fingers trembling, tracing over each face. And then he saw it. In the corner of one photo behind the break room table, where no one should have been standing, a figure in blue hair, too neat, eyes blacked out by shadow, just a blur. Not enough to be certain. Not enough to say it wasn't her. He looked back at Olivia. Why are you here? I told you. I've always been here. No, you haven't. I've worked here for years. You've worked here 3. He laughed. Bitter. That's not even close. She pulled a tablet from her bag, tapped something, held it out. Here's your HR file. Joined in 2022. August 3rd. You had a beard back then. You don't anymore. He stared at the photo. It wasn't him. It looked like him. But the eyes were wrong, dead, like someone imitating his expression. He whispered, that's not me. Doesn't matter. Olivia said, that's who they think you are. He stumbled out into the hallway, the doors closing behind him. The hum of the cafeteria faded into silence. He walked toward conference room C. Each step felt heavier, like gravity pulling harder in that direction. The lights flickered again just slightly, like an old film reel skipping frames. He reached the door. It was open. No one inside. Just an old projector humming softly on the table. He stepped inside. A single photo slid onto the wall. Miranda, not smiling, not posed, looking into the camera with eyes that screamed, help me. His heart pounded. His breath turned shallow. He took out his phone, lifted it to take a picture, but the image didn't appear. Just the wall. He lowered the phone. And then behind him the door slammed shut. He turned. Olivia stood there again. Why are you really here? He asked. She smiled. This time it didn't reach her eyes. I came to remind you of what you promised not to forget. He backed up. You said remembering was dangerous. It is, she said, but forgetting is worse. The projector clicked again. Another photo. This one of him, standing over something buried, something shaped like a body. He fell to his knees, hands over his ears. No, he whispered. You didn't do anything, Olivia said, but you let it happen. Silence stretched thick, smothering. And then faint. From somewhere deep beneath the floorboards, a asterisk, knock asterisk. 3 soft taps, followed by a whisper through the vents. Asterisk, asterisk, we're still down here. Asterisk, asterisk. He bolted up, clawed at the door, yanked it open. The hallway was wrong. Longer, dimmer. The exit sign at the end flickered, then blinked out, and on the floor, outside the door, a name badge. Carl Brennan, snapped in half. He looked back at Olivia, but she was gone. Only her coffee cup remained, still steaming, sitting perfectly in the center of the conference table, and on the inside of the cup, written in sharp red ink, don't trust Olivia. She was never alive. Asterisk, asterisk, 2. Be continued, asterisk, asterisk. Tyler didn't remember falling asleep. Not here. Not in conference room C. Not with the projector still warm, and Olivia's cup cooling beside it, like she'd only just stepped away. But when his eyes opened, it was morning or something like it. Soft light poured in from nowhere. Not sunlight, not electric, just pale and floating, like it had seeped in through the cracks of something older than the building itself. The projector was off now. The walls were bare, the floor spotless. No coffee cup, no name badge, no photos. Everything he'd seen, the image of Miranda, the whispers, The knock-gone. Like a dream. Except for the dust on his palms and the fingernail embedded in the carpet under the table. He knelt, stomach tight, fingers trembling. It was real, chipped, pink polish, clinging to the jagged edge. Not his, not recent. He tucked it into his pocket and stood slowly, spine stiff, as if any fast movement might draw something out of hiding. Outside the conference room, the office was bright, loud, people moving, laughing, typing, as if nothing had happened, as if everything had been undone in the night. Marissa was back at her desk, talking on the phone like she hadn't cried in front of him just hours ago. He stared at her, and she looked up, smiled, waved. No recognition. He walked by her desk. "Hey," he said, "about yesterday." She blinked. "Yesterday. In the cafeteria." The voice, she laughed politely. "You feeling okay?" Tyler walked away. None of it made sense. Except for the footage, he still had security accesses. Role and data compliance gave him clearance to archived camera logs, something no one outside of IT usually touched. He slid into an empty office, shut the door, and opened the company's surveillance tool. Logged in, clicked back to the cafeteria feed from the day before. 12:30-7. Carl, sitting at his table. Tyler dropping the tray. It was all there. Except Tyler never said anything. He never asked a question. He just stood there, eyes glassy, looking lost, like a man who'd forgotten why he walked into the room. No voice, no mention of Miranda. No screaming, and at 12:39, Carl stood up, smoothed his shirt, and walked out the door, out of frame. Gone. Tyler rewound it again and again, searching for the glitch, the cut, the moment where the edit was made. But there wasn't one. The feed was clean, seamless. He opened another feed. The hallway outside conference room, C1250-4. He watched himself walk in. Alone, he watched the door close, and then the camera blinked. A single frame frozen. In that frame, Olivia stood behind him, but only in that one frame. Every other second, every other movement, she wasn't there. He backed away from the screen, heart hammering in his ears. Not fear, not yet. It was something deeper, like an old scar beginning to ache again. He needed answers, so he went to HR. He didn't knock. He walked in like he still belonged there. The office was quiet, bathed in morning light. Files stacked neatly, a slight smell of toner and peppermint. And then he saw it. On the wall, the memorial, a black and white photo of Miranda King, smiling, framed a small plaque below it. Asterisk in memory. 2017. Asterisk. He stared. It wasn't the photo from the slideshow. This was older. Handwritten notes circled it. Post-its from coworkers. "Miss you. You were light." Asterisk. "They'll never tell the truth. But we know." Asterisk. That last one wasn't signed. He stepped closer, and a movement in the reflection of the glass caught his eye. A figure, small, hunched, sitting at the far end of the office, half hidden in the shadow. "Who are you?" Tyler asked. The figure didn't answer. He approached slowly. The woman had white hair, pale skin, wearing a faded company lanyard from a logo that hadn't been used in over a decade. "Shouldn't be here," she said without looking up. "Neither should she," he said. The woman smiled, teeth yellow. "Not unkind. No one's supposed to be here. That's the secret. Did you know Miranda?" The woman looked at him for the first time. Her eyes were pale blue, milky, like watered-down ink. "You mean before or after she disappeared?" Tyler sat. "I need the truth?" The woman chuckled. "That's the wrong request. Ask for memory. The truth isn't something you get, it's something you realize. Like a sickness you always had but didn't notice until the coughing starts. I saw things, heard her voice. You remembered her. That's worse." She leaned in, close. Her breath smelled like burnt tape. "Do you want to know where it really started?" Tyler nodded. "Then you'll need to go back further. Past Miranda. Past this building. 2009. Summer. Internal restructuring. A different name, different CEO. The thing you're looking for," she tapped his forehead, "was put in you. Back then. What thing?" She leaned back and closed her eyes. "You'll find it, when you're supposed to. When the floor beneath you stops pretending to be solid." He stood and left without another word. That night, he couldn't sleep. Memories churned, unsteady, to clean on the edges, like props in a theater. He dug out his old laptop, booted it up, pulled from a hard drive labeled Old Work Docs, and there it was. A folder labeled Training Q3. 2009. Inside videos, meetings, onboarding faces he hadn't seen in years. He clicked on one. A conference room. A trainer named Sharon, 8 new hires, and Tyler. Only, he didn't remember this. Didn't remember any of this. He looked older in the video than he did now. That wasn't possible. He scrubbed forward and saw Miranda. Not as HR, as one of the new hires. In 2009. But she hadn't joined until 2014. He was sure of it. He checked the timestamps. The metadata. They were real. Miranda had worked here before, years before, under a different name, a different company. And in the final few frames of the video, the camera panned just for a second and captured the wall behind the trainees, painted faintly beneath layers of white paint. just barely visible. Do not let Miranda remember. Tyler's breath caught, he closed the laptop. And the knock came. Again, not from the door, from inside the wall. He moved to the corner of the room, pressed his ear to the drywall. A voice, muffled, soft, asterisk, you knew. You were part of it. Asterisk, no, he whispered, I didn't. But something inside him did. A memory faint, flickering, a hallway, a woman crying, a document signed with his name, classified, internal, asterisk, authorization to erase emotional continuity. Subject, King, M, asterisk, he had signed it. Not Tyler now. But Tyler then, whoever he was, whatever version they made him into, he stepped back. Everything he knew, his name, his history, his job, was a lie patched together from forgotten files and half-buried tape. And as he turned, ready to run, to scream, to burn it all down, he saw the mirror across the room, and in the reflection, Olivia, not behind him, inside him, smiling, whispering, asterisk, now do you see? You were never looking for her, you were looking for yourself. And then the lights cut out. End chapter 3, asterisk. It began with the red dot under the desk. Tiny, faint, the size of a pinhead. Tyler almost didn't see it, not until he dropped his pen and leaned down to pick it up, his cheek brushing against the underside of the cold metal. There, hidden beneath layers of dust and peeling paint, was a perfect red circle, no bigger than a dime, drawn in ink that shimmered ever so slightly under the flickering fluorescent light, and beside it, etched into the metal so lightly it almost blended into shadow, were the words. As one of the new hires, in 2009, but she hadn't joined until 2014. He was sure of it. He checked the timestamps, the metadata. They were real. Miranda had worked here before, years before, under a different name, a different company. And in the final few frames of the video, the camera panned just for a second and captured the wall behind the trainees, painted faintly beneath layers of white paint, just barely visible. Do not let Miranda remember. Tyler's breath caught, he closed the laptop. And the knock came. Again, not from the door, from inside the wall. He moved to the corner of the room, pressed his ear to the drywall. A voice, muffled, soft, asterisk, you knew. You were part of it. Asterisk, no, he whispered, I didn't. But something inside him did. A memory faint, flickering, a hallway, a woman crying, a document signed with his name, classified, internal, asterisk, authorization to erase emotional continuity. Subject, King, M, asterisk, he had signed it. Not Tyler now. But Tyler then, whoever he was, whatever version they made him into. He stepped back. Everything he knew, his name, his history, his job, was a lie, patched together from forgotten files and half-buried tape. And as he turned, ready to run, to scream, to burn it all down, he saw the mirror across the room. And in the reflection, Olivia, not behind him, inside him, smiling, whispering, asterisk, now do you see? You were never looking for her. You were looking for yourself. And then the lights cut out. End chapter 3, asterisk. It began with the red dot under the desk. Tiny, faint, the size of a pinhead. Tyler almost didn't see it, not until he dropped his pen and leaned down to pick it up, his cheek brushing against the underside of the cold metal. There, hidden beneath layers of dust and peeling paint, was a perfect red circle no bigger than a dime, drawn in ink that shimmered ever so slightly under the flickering fluorescent light, and beside it, etched into the metal so lightly it almost blended into shadow, were the words,